Omni Sport Breakfast with MKT and Kevin McCallum.
Let's get into the Boks in the build-up to the Springboks match versus England this weekend. For whatever reason, being called a derby of sorts, or there's a rivalry. I don't really know why it's called a rivalry. But Boks Scrumhalf Cobus Reinach spoke about how the role of being the Bok number 9 has changed with New Zealand coach Tony Brown in charge.
Tony came in and changed the way we see attack, and taught us how to be brave on attack, and how the 9. We as 9s can now scoot a little bit and take the ball 1, 2, 3 steps before we make a decision who to hit. And it's nice to have the ball in your hands and not just pass it off the deck all the time. So yeah, it's been, everyone's bought in, and it's been really, really good for us.
I know you like that because you like Grant Williams and Hendrickson.
Well, look, so we talked about the bomb squad last week. Grant Williams was the man who changed it all. He shifted the momentum. The Scottish dealt very well with the bomb squad, I thought. They didn't negate them, and the bomb squad did have an impact to an extent, but not as big an impact as Grant Williams. I think Grant Williams is a superstar.
I know you love him, and I think the Boks have 2 or 3. To have Cobus Reinach as probably our third best scrum half with Faf on the outside is an incredible position. I mean, we are so loaded in that position.
And then you got the Hendrickson brothers, 9 and 10, and there's also a certain guy in the wing, Cheslin Colby. He can play at 9.
He played lock the one day. He jumped.
If there's going to be a 4-4 split, I think he'll be on the bench as a lock, as a prop, scrum half, fly half, everything.
Absolutely unreal. And of course, we know England, South Africa now represents the Wit-kant-gate, which was between Bongi, Mbonambi and Tom Curry, of course, in the World Cup last year. Reinach was asked if the Boks were out for revenge against the English following those allegations against Bongi.
I think if we get into that, it's gonna take us away from the actual test match. I think for us, we need to focus on what's coming on Saturday and how to put our plan on that field. If we lose sight of what we want to do, we might be embarrassed after or not happy with our performance. So for us, I think we just need to focus on the job at hand.
Yeah, I think the players obviously can't say it, but from what I've heard, according to my sources, I'm not a big J journalist like you and the likes of Stuart Hess, but I have asked people on the inside, and they say there's no way, especially Bongi, there's no way. He definitely said Wit-kant. It's always with these kinds of things, you have to be there.
Yeah.
And there are certain people you're like, but the guys, everyone, I mean, I've asked at least 10 players, and they said there's of any of the guys.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
They said absolutely not him. There's no way Bongi would go there. But now it's a thing. By the way, it's a thing inside the Bok camp. He was broken about that. I spoke to him about it. He was absolutely broken. Just like the assertion that he would ever be racist. Like he was absolutely
Yeah, it was a cheap shot by the English media and a cheap shot by Tom Curry. Tom Curry, if he didn't understand it, then perhaps should have spoken to him afterwards. In September, before the series, I was asked, would you shake his hand? And he said, no, I won't shake his hand. So Tom Curry's not in. Good. Bugger off.
Yeah, he's not in, and but that trust me, that will add spice. The Boks they do not feel the English.
How many
at all.
times do you think you'll hear the words "vit" and "cunt" being used?
In fact, now, obviously the side's not out yet, so it'll be Sia. Hopefully he addresses is like, ref, please go and talk to the Wit-kant. Like he needs to push it all the time, just so it becomes a thing.
I mean, also for those in the rest of Africa, Wit-kant is white side.
Yeah.
So just so you know that, and that's what he was saying. He's basically he was calling a defensive call. So, white side, black side, green side, back side.
Love that. Let's move over to the All Blacks. New Zealand, or to former All Black. New Zealander Tony Brown has now been in charge for 6 months in his coaching role. And he spoke about what it means for him to be part of the Boks setup and what he feels he was brought in to do.
Yeah, well, obviously it's a massive honour to join the Springboks. Won the last 2 World Cups, number 1 team in the world. So as a coach, it's a massive honour, and obviously there's a lot of talent in the team. And for me as an attack coach, to be able to get a hold of that talent and not so much get a little bit of free license, but be encouraged to try and change the way they look at the game and play the game, try and use the natural ability of some of the players around their X factor and their physicality and their size to create an attacking game that can be, hopefully the best in the world.
The nice thing about Rassie Erasmus, and it's very un-South African, if I could call it that, is it's always better to add in anything when you're successful, to do R&D when you're successful, because the other way is you have to pivot because things are going badly, and generally you're doing from desperation there, or you're trying to copy other people. Is Rassie's going, while I'm ahead, let me innovate then, and that's such a powerful position to do it from. For him to go and get Tony Brown, not from the wilderness, I mean Tony Brown's an icon of the game and incredibly smart, but for him to go and add a different guy who's from a different culture, just shows you that Rassie is just about, hey, let's have good ideas. I don't need to be the center of this. Let's just have good ideas. And for a man I thought would have an ego, I think it's quite egoless from Rassie, which is great for rugby in South Africa at large, I think.
He's very aware of the dangers of falling into a rut and doing the same old. And he doesn't do change for change's sake. And that is the big thing. So what is the change going to bring? What is the change going to add? How do I change the way I play? Someone was talking about Trent Alexander-Arnold under slot being taught, listen, the way you defend, you just need to shift your body 1, 2, 3 degrees. And that's change for the sake of bringing out a result and an impact. And that's what Tony Brown has come in, and he's bringing the change, not to try and turn South Africa into this great attacking team, but to add that element of adaptability and also the surprise element. Nobody knows what's coming. What has Tony Brown got? Are they going to run it? Are they going to smash it? It's an awesome way to think about rugby.
Well, glad you said that, because Tony Brown will also address how he feels the 6 months have gone, but he also spoke about whether he would try to change the Boks to play like All Blacks and New Zealanders.
Yeah, I think for me it's been a great 6 months. From an attack point of view, I think we've made a lot of progress. I think the players are really buying into what I'm selling, I suppose, or what I'm trying to drive. And the biggest thing for me around attacking with the Springboks is we've still got to attack the way that the Springboks play the game, which is really physical. It's on top of the gain line. It's never ever going. I'm never ever going to come in and teach the Springboks to play like the All Blacks, for instance. So I'm going to teach the Springboks to attack like Springboks, and I think we're slowly understanding what that looks like, and 100% come this time next year we've got to improve a massive amount as well. So we've always got to keep evolving, and luckily for myself, Russie's been giving me the opportunity to do that with the team.
So what you want to hear?
Yeah. I mean, he's basically saying the Boks must be the Boks. We are the Boks. There's an identity. There's a certain core of it, that physicality, the brutality, so-called brutality, and that strength and the belief in the set piece. But now, if you got that core, you can still add on. It's almost, you're going to hate me for this phrase, it's out the box thinking.
I
had to get it. Sorry, too early.
No, we're not doing that. But I think you make a good point. Tony Brown, nothing more needs to be said. Yeah. I think you've absolutely nailed it there.
Listen live and on demand.
Welcome to Omni Sport.